So how did I go about knowing what my goals were for 2024? Creating over consuming. And as you can see, my setup is a little bit different. I don't know if you can see that. Or I could always, oh, did it turn off? Okay, well that didn't work. I'll just put it up here on the screen somewhere. Hey everybody, Jacqueline here. So 2023 for me was a year of creating over consuming. That was kind of my mantra, motto, New Year's resolution I had for last year. I realized that I was consuming too much and I wanted to create more. So in 2023, I'm proud that I started this YouTube channel. I've been doing this for 9 months now. And it has been a joy to create. I have also created by starting to sew. I thrifted a sewing machine and I've been sewing amazing things. And it's just been an amazing year to just create. I also started baking. I have only semi-perfected one thing, which is a pumpkin scone. And I've shared it with friends, I've shared it with family, I've shared it with my clients for my photography business. And so far everybody has loved it. So I'm really excited that my whole mantra of creating over consuming, of not watching as many YouTube videos, not watching TV, not consuming things as much, and just spending the year creating more has brought more happiness and joy into my life. And I get to share it with you all, and it makes me very happy to do that. So this video is going to be my next mantra resolution for 2024. So let's dive in. So 2024 for me is all about being organized. Since I started creating more things last year with more about my Jacqueline Bear art, my YouTube channel, these different little streams of tiny income, they're all teeny tiny little streams flowing into the big river, right? Now I do have hobbies like baking that I'm not opening a baking shop. I'm not trying to make money off of that. So I do have hobbies that don't make me money, but there are some hobbies like YouTube and my sewing that I wouldn't mind making a little bit of income from it just so I can diversify. So this year is all about organizing because I need to be better organized. So how did I go about knowing what my goals were for 2024? Side note, I'm not normally a person that makes New Year's resolutions and different things. I've never done that, making vision boards or writing out a mantra. Just the last 2 years after 2020 happened, so I guess the last 3 years, so 21, 22, 23, my husband and I, for our business, we wanted to create more resolutions for them, and we always worked towards them. And this last year was the first time we made more of a personal goal together, which was creating over consuming. So this year, I wanted to do my own, both for business and for personal goals, but definitely being more organized. Like, I think we all need a little bit of organization in our lives, and I'm fairly organized with a lot of things, but when it comes to just ideas, to-do lists, all these different things, I used to just write them on pieces of paper, and then those paper lists would get lost. And so I've started doing things more online. I have my very old iPad that I've had for like 4 or 5 years now. And I put Notion on it. So like that's how I've been getting more organized with it. And I have my notes here for this video, which is another thing I'm trying to do, is not be as rambly, which I don't know if I'm succeeding right now. So we'll go into the next thing. Okay, so the question was, how did I know what I wanted my goal to be? Because sometimes people will, oh, it's Christmas time and New Year's is coming, I should come up with some plans, some goals. That's not how I worked. I looked throughout the whole year. So I was working on my creating over consuming. And then as it went on, I was like, what are other things in my life I want to focus on? So throughout all of 2023, talking it out with my husband, writing in my morning pages in my journal, whether you journal or do morning pages, totally okay, but just where I started seeing it happen, when I had conversation with my artist friends or just family members, I just noticed a pattern happening of, wow, I'm creating all these different things. I should probably be more organized. And I don't know if that's a normal New Year's resolution type thing of just be organized. Perhaps I should make it a bit more specific or broad. I don't quite know yet, but I spent all last year just realizing that was something that I wanted to work on this year. Now I started becoming more organized the past, like in December. December for me is everybody else is super busy with all the holidays. I love the holidays, but it tends to be a slower time for me and my husband. We live away from our family, so we didn't go back this year or anything. So it was a little bit slower. And as you can see, my setup is a little bit different. I have now brought in the computer that I use for my photography. It used to be on a different desk out in the living room. So we brought it in here so that I could feel more organized. Now, I have also learned that it's hindering me from creating more. So I haven't created a ton the last month in December. It is now the first full week already into January. So I need to figure that out, but at least I'm being more organized. So that's a plus for me. A tip I would give you is your goals, you want to bring joy into them. I don't want this to just be another to-do list sort of a thing. Now you can have a list of goals that you want to concretely do, right? You can plan it out to be like, I want to go on this vacation trip. I want to do this thing or that. But for me, my goals always want to bring joy. So I didn't want to set up my Notion, get all organized and make it like this is boring or just another to-do list thing. I made it look pretty. I made it fun. I brought joy into it. And now I super enjoy when I'm going to sit down and be like, what's on the task today, for me to always be moving in the direction of my goals, of being more organized, of creating more, because I'm still creating over consuming. That has been a wonderful thing last year of doing that. It's been so nice. So I'm going to continue that this year for sure. So a few questions you could ask to help yourself if maybe you've already been thinking of like some goals, but you want to like make them a little bit more concrete. Here are a few questions you could journal about. You could just get out a piece of paper. You could type it up if that's what you like to do. So a few questions that I like to ask myself are, what do I imagine my dream life to be? Are you a stay-at-home parent and so you want more freedom in your life to where you can work on different things, of having your kids go to a daycare or hire a nanny or a babysitter for the weekends so you can work on your goals or your dreams or things that you want? Like, what is your dream life? For me, it is working from home, having a bigger desk, because again, I realized that this is too small of a desk. So I will be figuring that out here in the coming weeks or months. We'll see how long that takes. But you just want to write down what your dream life is. Write it all down, everything. Big dreams, small dreams, dreams that are too scary to say, because you can always take steps towards that. This isn't a goal list that you have to get done in Q1 or Q2 or by the end of the year, just as long as you're moving towards it so that it's not just a dream that stays floating around you. Because if you write it down, at least for me, it helps me always work towards it. What do I want to accomplish? What do I want to try? Is there anything I'm looking forward to in particular? This is where on the sheet of paper in my journal, I just write down all these ideas and see, maybe you've been writing all year, you've been seeing it in your journal, what keeps popping up. That's always a good way to help you kind of figure out what you think your goals might be for the next year, this year, here in 2024. And if you're feeling stuck and you're a person who you can't think of anything, watch other YouTubers. You could watch this video, you could watch other people, type in 2024 resolutions. I'm sure that there's a bajillion of them. And you can just start getting ideas that maybe you hadn't thought of. But that's always another good place to just get some inspiration if you're needing help with coming up with goals. But I think deep inside, you probably have goals that you've been thinking about for a while, and you want to chase those dreams now. So something that I tried for the very first time this year, I've seen people do this in the past, but I have never had the urge to do, I've never wanted to do it, is to create a vision board. Now, I had friends growing up that would do this, and they would cut things out of magazines. They'd actually make like a poster board or a small poster board and hang it up in their room. And I always liked it. I always thought it was wonderful. I've just literally never done it in my life. And for some reason this year, I wanted to give it a go. So instead of creating one to go on my wall, because I don't have magazines, I don't have anything to cut out. I'd have to like go print stuff, which you could totally do, but our printer's out of ink. So I was just like, you know what? We're gonna make a digital board. So I'm gonna show you my digital board that I created, and I wanted to put it as my screensaver background thingy, whatever, for my iPad. So I'll show you on here. I don't know if you can see that. Or I could always, oh, did it turn off? Okay, well that didn't work. I'll just put it up here on the screen somewhere. So I created this vision board in Canva. You can use the free version to create a vision board. You may have already seen this. I think I've seen somebody on Instagram show their vision board, and I was like, that was the same template I used. But yeah, I can create a whole video about making a vision board. Comment below if you actually want to see how I created this. But the gist was, I looked at my list of goals. I saw words that stood out to me about goals I wanted. Like I wanted to bake more. I wanted to book more intimate weddings versus elopements for my business. I wanted to go out and see all the beautiful wildflowers of Colorado in the summertime, because this past summer, during the month of like peak wildflowers here, I was in Sweden hiking for the month, so I missed it here. I saw it over there. It's gorgeous, but I really want to see more of it this year, so I put pictures of flowers. So I went onto Pinterest. That was the easiest way for me to go visually find these photos. I quickly searched. I put it into my Canva. I typed in the templates. I typed in vision board. One popped up and I was like, boom. I didn't want to overthink it. That's a big thing for me, is to not overthink things. That's probably like another mantra for this year. And if you have words or sentences that's kind of your mantra, you can also put that. Loud car. It doesn't have to be just visual. It can also have words in it if that's something that you want as well. But if you want a video about that, let me know, because I think that would be really fun, just to kind of showcase another way of being creative, but more digitally instead of just always painting. It was really fun for me to create. I think I did it that weekend of the New Year's Eve weekend. I didn't have any parties to go to or anything. So one night I was like, you know what? I've been thinking about, I want to make a vision board. Let's just make one. And I spent an hour or two just creating it. And then I put it onto my iPad. I started using my iPad again. I haven't used it in quite a while. So I was like, I want to create on it. I want it to be a good way and a good useful tool, because there's people out there that probably would love to have an iPad. And my husband bought this for me back in 2019, and I used it a ton, and then it just, I don't know, just slipped away, but now I'm using it again. It's really, really fun. And that can segue me into the next section. So how can I attain these goals? Since my main goal is being organized, I want it to be organized on my computer. I took this computer, my husband took my laptop, so I don't have my laptop anymore, but I have my iPad and my computer now, which is working out fairly well since I've been doing this the past week or so. So number one, since this was his computer, he had it very dark mode, dark colors, very him. And I was like, that's not me at all. So I made everything pretty. I made my desktop little folders with pretty colors. I made a pretty background. Even in my Google Calendar, I picked pretty colors. Now in my Notion, I've made it look pretty. I've never used Notion. My husband has. He's the one that told me about it. So not sponsored or anything, just that's what he used. So that's what I decided to use. So my first tip to you is to make it aesthetically pleasing to you. Are you a black and white person? Are you a floral person? Pastels, bright colors, whatever it is. I just searched online for like free little like icon templates. What hex codes of coloring can I do for my Google Calendar to make it look pretty? In my Notion, on the top part, like the header part, you can put an image there. So I just typed in pretty flowers, botanicals, those type things, because I wanted, for every time I would open Notion, I would open my calendar, my to-do list, all those things, that it would actually be pretty and I would want to see it. I know it sounds it sounds silly, but it's super helped me to get excited for it. Maybe you're a person who wants an actual planner or a journal. I've tried planners. I love writing things down, but physical planners just didn't work for me in the sense of to-do lists or seeing my month. Online has actually been pretty helpful for me. I'm surprised by that because I've been trying for years to do it all within a planner, and clearly it has not worked. So this is the first time trying it all out, and it's working for me. So perhaps it might work for you too. So with setting up your organization of your goals, whether it's on digitally, physically, whatever it is, me using Notion, it has helped a lot. If you'd like a video on that, you could tell me about that too. I'm a beginner at it, so it would be like beginner friendly Notion video because I am not super into it. I'm learning it as I go. Maybe I can do one down the line. But anyways, within there, I have at least created goals that I have, and I've been seeing people put them into quarters. So quarter 1, 2, 3, 4, because it's just 3 months worth. And it makes it feel more bite-sized to be like, oh, I want to create this goal. It can be in the first quarter, so I have 3 whole months to do it. It's not a long list or short list or whatever you have for the whole year. You can kind of divide it into the 4 different quarters. So that has helped me so far. I've only kind of planned out quarter 1, and a few of my goals, like the wildflowers, I can't really do until quarter 2 and 3 when it's actually summertime here in America. So I just push that onto there to be like, I don't have to do anything about flowers right now, unless I want to go buy flowers, but I should do that. That would be nice. Anyways, I put those into other quarters. So you can get super organized and break things down into monthly, quarterly, whatever you'd like type of goals. As long as all of these little steps that you take are working towards your main goal, like look back on what your main goal is. Look at your vision board if you created one. See what you want your overall year to look like. And that's going to be something that takes you into your whole life. Like even last year for me being create over consume, it's not like, oh, good job, Jacqueline, check that off. You did that for 2023. Now don't do it again. Like, no, I'm going to continue doing that into this year and every year into my life for as long as I live. So look on your overall goal of what you want your dream life to look like, what you want these goals to be, and just make it easy and manageable. Bite-sized little steps, because starting somewhere is better than not starting at all. And another thing that's kind of my little mantra is done is better than perfect. I have always been someone who wanted to make things be perfect before I presented it with this nice little ribbon and bow and everything to present it to the world. But I have started learning, especially with my YouTube videos, because done is better than perfect. I know some of my videos have not been perfect, but who cares? Like, people like them. They get the gist of what I'm trying to tell you all. And you comment back, you give me feedback, you let me know if something's working or not working. And I'm like, cool, I'm just going to keep getting better, because if I waited for things to be perfect, I probably still wouldn't have started this YouTube channel. So my tip to you is to just start today, something small that you can work towards it. Some more fun things to help you attain your goals. 1, I like to treat myself. So if you complete a tiny task, if you complete something, you can treat yourself to something. Me, it is always chocolate bars. I will treat myself to a nice chocolate type of treat, usually chocolate bars with my popcorn. I'm a sweet, salty type of person, and so I love to have my popcorn with my chocolate. So that's usually a nice little treat I give myself when I'm like, okay, you did that task of things I needed to do to help move myself towards my goal of being organized. Good job, pat myself on the back, treating myself. That's always, always nice. So one of my personal goals, side note, I am not a reader at all. So don't ask me for recommendations of books because I'm usually the one asking other people. Anyways, this year, as the year was going, when we were hiking in Sweden, I downloaded some audiobooks to listen to while we were hiking on those very long days of hiking. And I actually listened to 2.5 books during that time. And I was like, whoa, maybe by the end of the year, I can get through 5 books. And I found out that listening to books is better for me. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Maybe some people think reading a physical book is a better way of going about it. But clearly, my whole adult life, I have not been reading physical books, and I never done an audiobook before in my life. Crazy, I know. So my goal this year is to have 10 books by the end of the year, and I want at least 2 of them to be physical books because I have to take tiny little steps. So when I finish those 2 books, I want to give myself a bigger treat. So it doesn't just have to be tiny little treats you give yourself. It could be just you could just do tiny, like go to the coffee shop or go thrifting. That's a big thing for me. But you can make bigger treats for your bigger goals when you feel more accomplished. So that's just a fun way to help you stay and attain your goals that you're working towards. I do talk about my goals with my husband, with my friends, even my pen pals, because writing it, saying it out loud makes it feel more real. In the past, whenever I've just thought about goal setting, I didn't tell anybody, and then I never wrote it down, and it only just stayed in my mind. So last year and into this year, talking it through, writing it down, putting it out into the world, that's also a really good step towards attaining your goals, is just starting by writing it down. So I hope you write it down. So pause this video if you want to go write something down. Maybe you thought of a goal right now and it popped into your head. So go write it down. Just grab a piece of paper, write it down. So with your goals that you have written down or you will write down or whatever, you want to ask yourself, how often do you want to work towards these goals? Is this a daily thing, a monthly thing, a bi-monthly thing, like whatever it is? Like one of my goals is to write more newsletters, both for my photography business and for Jacqueline Bear Art. Thank you to those who have signed up for it. I'm sorry that last year I think I only sent 3 newsletters out of the whole year. So essentially, how often do you want to work on your goals? How much effort do you want to put into it? Is it a big effort? Is it a small effort? Those are just some questions you can ask yourself to help you visualize and realize like how much you want to work on these things. Some things are a slow burn and it just takes a while to get to it, but writing that down will at least make you not feel bad if, oh no, it's March and I haven't even started reading any of my books. It's okay. It's a slower burn, and I just know that I'm going to make small little efforts towards reading physical books as well as listening to audiobooks. So what is the purpose of setting and attaining these goals? You might be thinking, Jacqueline, that's great that you decided to make some 2024 New Year's resolutions. That's great. Why? Why do you want to do this? Well, 1, it helps me stay organized. Even with one of my main goals being organized, it actually helps me be organized. I'm productive. Not that you have to be productive with everything that you do in every aspect of your life, but for somebody who wants, like myself, who wants to make money with some of these things, I need to be proactive and productive with these things to attain those goals. I can't just be like, oh, I wish my YouTube made money. Well, what if I don't post any videos? How am I supposed to make money unless I'm actually posting? You see what I mean? So it helps you be productive to work towards those goals. It also helps with your mental health. When you have a fun, joyous goal in mind and you're working towards it, it just helps deep inside to be like, I'm doing something for myself or my family or my friends or my husband or my partner or my wife or whatever. And it just makes you feel happier inside, or at least it does for me, to know that if I am making myself happy with actually working towards and attaining these goals, it makes me happier, therefore making the people around me happier to be around me, and I'm not so down in the dumps like I have been in the past. And for some of my goals, like making sure I'm going to spend more time with the wildflowers this summer, I want to do it alone, and I also want to do it with my husband. I want to do the same thing with friends or family that might come visit me, and it creates memories. So a wonderful thing about setting goals for the year, for your life, is to also create lasting, wonderful memories. So I am so excited to go be amongst all these flowers this summer, this spring, summer into fall, with my husband, with my friends. I want to be out amongst them, painting them, taking photos, smelling them, learning about them. And that's just going to be a wonderful memory that I'm going to cherish forever, and I can just keep doing it year after year after year, because I mean, who doesn't want to just sit amongst beautiful wildflowers? Unless you're allergic. Then you probably don't want to, but I'm just going to take an allergy pill and I'll be fine, because I'm slightly allergic. So to end, I want to talk about how I do these monthly check-ins. I had said earlier in the video, I don't usually go to coffee shops except for once a month, so once a month for my photography business, I take my business journal that I have created, and I go and I sit and I spend probably an hour to 2 hours, depending on how much work I need to get done. And I just focus on my job, because sometimes at home I do a lot of work from the computer for my photography business. But honestly, it feels more adult and more business-like to be like, oh, I'm going to my shareholder meeting or whatnot, which consists of me, one person, to sit there and work on my taxes that I need to, because I do that every single month to prep, all that stuff, loveliness of being a small business owner. And I sit there and I go through all the prompts I have, all the tasks that I have, and I want to create one of these for my Jacqueline Bear Art /YouTube / all my other hobbies. So that's something I'm going to be working on as well. So one thing I can suggest to you is, however you go about organizing monthly, weekly, quarterly, whatever you'd like to do, I would suggest doing just a monthly check-in. It's once a month. You just have to do it 12 times a year. That is very digestible and easy to do, even if it's just 20 minutes to be like, whew, okay, I do it the first of every month, so now I look forward to January, February, March, like the first of each month. And like I said, I go to a coffee shop and I buy myself a nice iced matcha. I don't buy drinks, so to buy a $6 drink is a way that I treat myself for once a month to look back on the previous month and what I need to do moving forward. So I would just suggest a nice monthly easy check-in. You can be as fancy or as not fancy as you'd like, but it will help you stay on track with your goals. So I'll leave you with a few of the questions that I like to ask myself when I'm doing those monthly check-ins. So does your goals you are working on bring you joy? And how can you work on it to bring you joy? Because I think in life we need more joy in everything that we do. I'm trying to be a more positive person, and I want to spread positivity and joy. And I think that can be one of your questions you ask, to be like, how is this? I mean, it's your goal, it's your dream. So I would assume that your goal and your dream would be joyous and it would make you happy. So see how each step can bring you joy as you are working towards it. Are your goals you're working on working? LOL. Does it bring value to you in your life? So if you are working on, I'm just going to use the reading example again, and if I was sitting there reading a physical book and it is taking me forever to get through it, that's not working for me. So perhaps I need to be like, how can this make it more joyous, more happy for myself to read a book? I really want to be a reader, but I'm not great with physical books. So by starting to listen to audiobooks, I downloaded my library app and I borrow books from them and I listen to it. I put it on the car, especially when I'm going to the thrift store or something and something's 15-20 minutes away. Instead of just listening to music or silence, I put my audiobook on, and it brings me so much more joy that even when I get to the store or something, I'll sit in the car and be like, oh, I have to finish this little chapter or paragraph that they're speaking, because it's so good and I want to listen to it. So think about what you've been doing and is it working, which I think you should do. And then also with that, is there anything you need to tweak or make more flexible to work for you? So another one of my goals is to connect more with you all. So these past 8-9 months that I've been doing this, I've been writing back with people. I have a wonderful community of people that come back every week. I had this one follower turned online friend that says every Sunday after church, they watch my videos. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that brings so much joy to my heart. How can I cultivate this community more? So I've looked back on what I've done this past month, this past many months, to be like, what can I do that's working and continue doing it, and what's not working, so that I'm like, okay, that didn't work, so I need to try something different. So I need to tweak things. I need to be more flexible with my ideas. And I don't know, it's just another goal of mine to be able to connect with you all more. So let me know in the comments if you have ideas of how I can be more connected with you. And then I move into what steps can I take into the next month to work towards that goal. They can be actual attainable steps that you are like, yep, I'm going to get this one done this week, this one done in 2 weeks, or steps of things that you can work towards it. I am working on my sewing projects. They're down over here. And I know that they're not going to get done this month. I'm not going to be able to sell them online right now, but I can definitely work towards them. So I kind of have all my goals, like I said, into each quarter. And then within that quarter, I'm like, okay, what can I do in the month of January that can work towards this goal of mine of sewing these bags? And then lastly, do you have any new goals or ideas, because things will pop up as the year goes on that you want to write down for this month or next quarter or something? Because again, you could just come up with an overarching goal of be organized. Then as I've been organized, I've been like, oh, well, now I'm a week into the new year, or it could be a month into the new year, and something else starts developing. So if there's anything that has popped into your head over the past month, write it down and put it concretely, at least into a quarter or into a brain dump area that you have, or just something where you can write that down so that you can always be looking forward. The whole purpose of this video is to not have you get overwhelmed with all of these goals. I want these goals that you create to bring joy, to bring happiness. I had a happy goal and I worked towards that goal, and I wanted to make sure it was always joyous while I was doing it, which isn't all the time, but it was joyous for me. It made me happier, which therefore led me to a happier life. That is always one of my goals, is to have a happier life. I've had some dark days and dark months and dark years in my life that I wanted, especially moving back here to Colorado this past year. It was just like an actual physical step towards happiness. So super thankful, grateful, happy that we're here, and all the goals that I've been working towards bring more joy in my life. So I hope that your goals, your dreams are going to be attained. I hope that you work towards them. Tell me what your goals are. Oh my goodness, yes, tell me. What is your goals? Even if it's just a tiny one. But yes, tell me what your goals are. Small, big, medium, any of them. I'd love to cheer you on and to hear what you're doing. I think that it's wonderful, this community that has started cultivating here on this tiny little channel, on this tiny corner of the internet. I would love to hear what you are hoping to work on, what you have accomplished, because it's always wonderful to look back and see what you've also accomplished. Like, January is not just for setting goals and looking forward. It is also about celebrating what you did get done. I will stop rambling. I know that's one of my goals, is to not be too rambly. I have failed you today. I am sorry, but I will get better in the future. I just love you guys, and I love this channel, and I think that this is a good year. I think it's going to be a good year. So I will see you all in the next one. Cheers. Oh, I was talking about something. I have more for you. As you see, I have reorganized, didn't really redecorate. I wanted every year, usually every few months, I always want to rearrange things. I don't know if you want to do that as well. That's just something I grew up with. My mother would always like rearrange the living room, and I always helped her with it. So it kind of instilled in me that I like to rearrange things. Anyways, I have done that. But the funny thing is, my husband and I are moving out of this place at the end of the month. Yeah, beginning of the next month. So it's kind of silly that I did rearrange all this in the past few weeks, but it brought me joy. That's totally okay. So I don't know exactly what type of space we are moving into, but I have an idea for a video to showcase you how you can create your own little corner space. Because if you've seen my studio tour video, you will know that I share the space with the bedroom. Like the bed's right there, the nightstand's right there, you're in front of the nightstand. So I don't know if I'm going to get another cozy little corner, if I'm going to get a bigger space. We shall see what happens. But I do want to show you that you can create a cozy, wonderful space, even if it's just a tiny little corner in your dining room or somewhere. So watch that video if you want to get ideas of how I created this space, and I will have another one coming out somewhere down the line because I get to pack everything up. So wish me luck. Cheers.